And welcome back to Roundhouse Radio 98.3. I'm Kirk LaPointe. I'll be your host this evening until 8 o'clock. We're continuing in our conversations with candidates in the provincial election, the May 9th election, next week, next Tuesday. We're focusing in this half hour, as we have, we've done 11 now of the ridings in Vancouver, in this half hour in the Quilchena riding. My guests are the Green Party nominee for the riding, Michael Barkusky, the NDP's Madeline Lalonde, and the BC Liberals' Andrew Wilkinson, who is the MLA in the district. Good to have all three of you here. I want to start with a pretty simple question, which is why? Why do you want to do this? Michael?
Public policy is important to people's lives, and my feeling is that I'm at a stage of my life where I want to contribute, give something back, and I think the Green Party of BC has a very interesting, very innovative message that voters are ready for, I think.
Madeline, you've come out of activism into a pursuit of public life in a full way. Why?
Well, for me, my story comes from lived experiences. I was priced out of the riding back in September, and I'm just finding increasingly talking to friends, peers, and everyday British Columbians that this BC Liberal narrative is not matching the lived experiences, and people are feeling squeezed. And I had to stand up and do something. Yeah,
Andrew Wilkinson, you like a lot of the other candidates in not just this but other races, have other opportunities. You can do other things. Why do this?
Well, I've been very fortunate in life and came from a very humble background, and so my goal is to make sure that the maximum number of people in British Columbia can share that opportunity and enjoy the prosperity that they have enjoyed for the last 5 years under the BC Liberals. In fact, the last 16 years.
So all of you are out knocking on doors, unquestionably ringing doorbells, I guess, so that your knuckles actually get saved. What are you hearing in the riding, Madeline?
I'm hearing that people are really afraid that their kids aren't going to be able to stay in the communities that they grew up in. I'm hearing that they're not trusting the BC Liberals. They feel like they're corrupt. They're not looking out for their interests. They're looking out for corporate interests.
Corrupt, really? I mean, that's a pretty hard word. I will say I got into some trouble for using that word myself at one point in my life. Corrupt?
You asked me what people on the doors were saying, and that's what they're saying on the doors.
All right. Okay. But you're not saying it yourself. Yeah, okay. But what are they saying in a lot of ways? What are they looking for in the way of solutions or answers or something?
Well, one of the main things is housing. They want their children to grow up in the riding stay in the riding that they grew up in, sorry. Mm-hmm. They're looking for their costs to go down. They want, the MSP to go away. They want BC hydro rates frozen so that their everyday costs are lowered, that they're living in a more sustainable and affordable economy.
Andrew Wilkinson, what are you hearing? I mean, you guys are on the spot in the sense that you have to defend a record, but what are people telling you about that record and what they might want in the way of a shift or an adaptation of it?
Sure. Well, having lived in the riding for coming on 18 years now, I've got a pretty intimate feel for it, and having been involved with junior sports and all the rest of it. It's a community that is prosperous, very well educated, a community that needs to be persuaded, does not take things at face value, forms its own impressions. And the overwhelming impression is that we've enjoyed a lot of prosperity. Things are going very well in British Columbia, and the community wants to see that continue. These are generally magnanimous people because we don't have a lot of provincial services in the riding other than schools. No hospitals, no provincial roads. But people realize that we live in one of the best corners of the world in Vancouver-Quilchena. They want to see that prosperity for everyone in the province.
Michael Barkusky, are you hearing the same sort of,
similar.
Stay the course?
No, I'm not hearing stay the course at all. I'm going to say I'm hearing similar things to what both Madeline and Andrew have just referred to. I'm hearing I'm hearing that housing affordability is a big issue. I'm hearing that there's spin-off effects from rising land values, which include a deterioration in the dynamism of the retail economy in places like Dunbar, where the commercial rents are too high for some of the merchants that were there before. I'm hearing a general sense that it's time for a change. And I'm also hearing that a lot of people feel that the alternative to the BC Liberals over the years has been part of the reason they've re-elected the BC Liberals. So what we're enjoying...
So you're the real alternative and not the NDP?
Well, voters will decide that, but what I'm hearing is that voters would like to try something different, and the Green Party is now establishing a credibility as a party with a full platform, a costed platform, over all the issues. I don't actually really agree with the view that says the Green Party ever was entirely about the environment, as if the environment was some kind of narrow little special interest.
No, but
people felt that they were not equipped to talk about anything else except the natural environment.
You have to
and now I
acknowledge
think they are.
In the last couple of elections, that has been almost job one for the Green Party, is to try to establish its bona fides in other areas.
Right, and I think it's coming together now, and people are saying this is an alternative that we can try.
Andrew Wilkinson, I want to pick up on something that you announced the other day, and it's a municipal issue that has a provincial intersection with it, which is the city's supposed ban on natural gas. And you made an announcement the other day that I thought was a bit of a stunner for the municipality. You basically said that you'd overrule them. You'd take away the city's capacity to effect this change in it. Where did that come from?
Well, the Vancouver Charter is unique in Canada in that it provides for a building code that is specific to one city of 600,000 people. And so the Vision Vancouver team that run the city of Vancouver right now came to the conclusion that they would create a structure which made it effectively impossible to use natural gas for cooking and heating in buildings that are rezoned or subject to construction after today, May 1st.
Yeah.
And so we in the BC Liberals talked to the restaurant sector, talked to a lot of people, including people like me who spent a lot of money putting in a high-efficiency gas furnace, and realized that this is not at all a sensible or viable proposition. It's basically impossible to run a restaurant without natural gas being available. And so the premise was, let's just stay the course, keep things the way they are in terms of natural gas availability in buildings. The efficiency of our energy consumption is rising quite rapidly with people like me investing in high-efficiency furnaces and heaters and so forth. Mm-hmm. And the restaurant sector depends upon it. I mean, you cannot run a Chinese restaurant or an Indian restaurant without natural gas.
And so this would be like stage one of several stages toward an eventual ban in all of this. Why intervene now? Is it just an election issue?
Well, no, the ban imposed by Vision Vancouver is to come into effect today. And so we wanted to give the building sector and the restaurant sector the reassurance that there'll be some stability and a common sense approach to this issue in the years to come.
Yeah. What did the other two parties have to say about this, Michael?
Well, I think this is a classic BC Liberal approach, and I'm not actually going to fully defend what the City of Vancouver has done, because my inclination personally is to favor light touch, lead people in the right direction regulation. You generally using market signals, but sometimes it comes a time when you have to use a slightly heavier hand. But the point about the reason I object to the BC Liberal approach, apart from the issue of overruling municipal jurisdiction, is the fact that they're constantly postponing dealing with the need to transition off fossil fuels. They're constantly saying we'll do it later, or the carbon tax is enough. And I mean, this was less true under the Campbell government, but it's certainly been the signature policy of the Clark government, is to just stand pat on any form of transition away from a fossil fuel-based economy. And they're kind of doubling down on fossil fuels. Madeline Lalonde,
what does the NDP have to say about what the Liberals are proposing here?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Michael's sentiments here that it seems like a very convenient timed election issue. They're trying to make a big issue about something that they don't even have all the facts on. They said that it's a ban. It's not even fully a ban. And this has been in the works for a while, and they're just suddenly coming out now. It seems too convenient of timing, and it's just they're playing politics.
Sometimes, though, I mean, election campaigns are all about that you do get a chance to do something on the spur of the moment because it is the convenience factor as opposed to it. Do you not apprehend, though, as you get across the riding, that there is a great deal of confusion in the city about a policy like this?
A lot of people, I guess, didn't really know a ton about this before Andrew made an announcement saying that they were going to end the ban, because we immediately saw people being upset that a ban was going to be in place, and then going to the internet, going to different sources. I got a lot of emails asking what our policy was on a ban, but the fact of the matter is it wasn't a ban. It was just...
Well, in the building sector, it effectively was a ban. As of today, under the Vision Vancouver policy, it was not feasible to pipe or supply new construction with natural gas sources.
If the building's rezoned.
Or a new build.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no shortage of that going on.
Yeah. What I wonder about is when you're starting to look at other issues involving housing affordability, Madeline, what does something like this do in terms of the affordability of units? Because what I've heard from Fortis BC is that for renewables, for instance, you're looking at about a triple the price in terms of a source of it. And the source is not all that plentiful anyway. We may not have enough by far to service eventually the Vancouver market, much less the rest of the provincial market. What are we going to do in this situation?
Well, I think to start, going to Fortis BC for your facts on it being more unaffordable is a little bit silly, since of course they're going to say, don't transition away from us, stay on us.
They are an electrical supplier. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where, but okay, who do we depend on then if not Fortis BC? Because they're telling us what the price is, and the fact that the price is about 3 times for renewable.
But we are in a period of historically low natural gas prices, and that's not necessarily going to last forever.
No?
Well, we've got 150-year supply at this price in northeastern BC.
Well, but life goes on after 150 years. There's life to be considered beyond 150 years, and at some point or other, people are going to take a view, if it's a valuable fuel, that they're going to want to keep some for the future. I'm not sure we could bank on natural gas always being cheaper. It doesn't. And besides, we're supposed to make climate commitments which involve moving away from fossil fuels. You can't move away from fossil fuels if every time the price gets attractive, you say, no, I'm not going to do it for now.
Right, but
and we've seen the price of renewables go down as well. I mean, they've dropped over 80%. That's actually more of a
secular trend. Yeah.
But Fortis BC says there's not a supply of renewables anytime soon, and that it's having trouble, frankly, just mustering what it's mustering now.
But that's precisely why I suggest that you need not a heavy-handed regulatory approach, but clear signals with a clear program and with some continuity of policy, which again reminds me of why I think we went in the wrong direction when Christy Clark took over from Gordon Campbell on this particular issue, because we had under the Campbell government a very clear plan to make steady progress towards moving towards a greener economy, and other forces came to bear that said, let's not do that.
Michael Barkusky is running for the Greens, Madeline Lalonde for the NDP, Andrew Wilkinson for the BC Liberals in the Vancouver riding of Quilchena.